Testing, testing. I think everything's working, man. Okay. Look at that, huh? New studio. It's just my bedroom, but we're going to call it a studio. I told you guys that as I continue to make videos and get better at the process and get more familiar with it, keep learning new things, that I would get better at it. So hopefully this is a little bit easier for you guys to watch than what I was doing before. Upgrades, people, upgrades. But okay, now that I've kind of talked about that, I want to get right into today's video, which is going to be all about warming up. Now, working as a personal trainer, one of the biggest things that I've noticed that people either do wrong or not at all is warm up. Sometimes I'll see people that do like a static stretch before their lift, but if you're going to be lifting like heavy weights, static stretching is actually going to hurt you more than it's going to help you. But honestly, more often than not, I see people who just walk into the gym and set their stuff down next to the first machine that they want to use, and they just maybe do a light warm-up set and then get right into their working sets. So today I'm going to be going over why warming up is important, what you stand to gain from it, what you stand to lose by not warming up properly, and then also I'm going to show you my warm-up, so hopefully you can take some of those ideas and apply them to your own warm-up. So first things first, why is warming up important? And to kind of explain this, I want to use a comparison that you see a lot in the fitness industry. I'm going to compare the human body and how it works to a car. So if you're one of those guys that, like I just said, you just go into the gym and you set your stuff down and you immediately get started, that's the same thing as like cold starting a car and then immediately putting it in gear and driving away. Now, going through a proper warm-up would be getting in the car, starting it, letting it idle for a bit, letting the RPMs drop, and then putting it in drive, which everybody should be doing, by the way, especially this time of year. Let the needle drop before you drive the car. You have to give everything time to get warmed up and circulating the right way so that the car can operate the way it's supposed to. If you're not, you're hurting the longevity of the car and you're going to end up spending more maintaining that car over time. Same thing with the human body. If you're not warming up properly, you're hurting your longevity and you're increasing your risk of injury, and you're not even going to get as much out of that lift as you could. So warming up the right way is important because it helps you get more out of your lift. It puts you in the right headspace to actually work out, and you're literally reducing the wear and tear that your body accumulates over the years of lifting consistently. Meaning that when you get up into your 50s and 60s and 70s and above, you're going to have less health complications. You're going to be able to stay active and mobile when you get old. And you're going to really decrease the risk of getting things like arthritis or other joint or muscle related diseases or issues. My oldest clients are up into their late 70s, and because I have them do a 5-minute warm-up before we lift any weights, they're more mobile and functional than some 40 and 50-year-olds that I know, which is crazy. Of course, adding in training for that kind of functionality is mandatory, but without the warm-up, it's a lot harder to make that kind of training as effective as it could be. Now, I know that a lot of my audience is going to be people that are younger, teenagers and young adults, people that aren't really worried about how they're going to be moving when they're 70, 80 years old, but this does still apply to younger athletes. When a muscle is warmed up the right way, it can stretch farther and contract tighter during any individual rep. That's going to increase the range of motion for your reps and also increase the blood flow to your muscles during those reps, aka better pump. Warming up also puts you in the right headspace for working out, which really does make a difference in your focus and your confidence. So if not warming up can increase your risk of injury and reduce your functionality over time, hurting your longevity, then even if you're only lifting weights a few times a week, and especially if you lift like 4 to 5 or more times a week, taking 5 to 10, maybe 15 minutes to go through a proper warm-up is 100% worth it, and you'll thank yourself later. But with that being said, I'm going to take you guys through my warm-up. I think it's very well-rounded, and it addresses all of the major joints and areas that tend to get stiff if they're not stretched out often enough. Feel free to give this warm-up a shot, and you can also move things around or change things so that it fits your individual needs. But let's jump right in. So I start off with a foam roller, and I'm going to roll out my entire lower body with this, starting with the calves. I like to do one side at a time rather than both, and just make sure that you get from the top of your Achilles all the way to behind the knee like you're seeing me do here. As far as timing goes, if one spot feels tight or if it's painful at all to roll out that spot, spend around 40 seconds to a minute. And if it feels good, then I only take like 20 to 30 seconds on any given area. Then I move up to the hamstrings, and again, only doing one side at a time. Start behind the knee and move all the way up to the glutes. Then moving up to the glutes, I like to lean side to side like this periodically so that I can get a well-rounded stretch. Then you're going to flip over and place the foam roller right at the midpoint of your body like you see me do here. That way the foam roller doesn't get in the way of the other leg while you're rolling out your quads. This is definitely the most awkward one the first time you're doing it. So start by placing the roller right above your kneecap and going all the way up to your hip. You can also flip up onto your side like you see me do here, so that way you can massage your IT band, and that feels great every time. Next, I grab this thing here. It's called an FMS board, but you can use anything like a plate or anything that just gives you a few inches of clearance. You want to start by putting the balls of your feet up on the board or whatever you're using and keep your heels on the ground. Then you're going to reach down as far as you can and then quickly come back up. You want to try and reach down a little bit farther with every rep, and the key to this one is making sure that your hips come forward all the way like you see me doing here. I do 10 to 15 reps of this and then move up, so now your heels are on the board and your toes are on the ground, and then just go ahead and repeat the process. This one is one of my personal favorites. If you have a problem with touching your toes, a week of doing this will fix that problem. This is a type of stretching called ballistic stretching, which is a technique that uses rapid and forceful movements to push a joint out of its normal range of motion for a brief period of time. So looking back at this, right, I couldn't go and hold my hands on the turf in a static stretch for more than a few seconds, but what I can do is quickly go down and tap my fists on the ground and then come back up. I like ballistic stretching a lot compared to static stretching, where I would just hold that position for 10, 20 seconds, however long, mainly because static stretching before lift will reduce reaction time, power, and explosiveness, and it even increases the risk of injury if you're lifting heavy weights right after static stretching. Ballistic stretching is a great alternative to still stretch out without getting those side effects. Now, I do like to static stretch after my workout, but we'll get to that in a minute. Next, I get a small resistance band and a large one like this that we'll use in a second, but take the small band, wrap it around the middle of your foot like this, and the goal for this stretch is hip mobility. So you want to draw a triangle or a circle with your knee like you see me doing here. I do 5 to 8 circles clockwise and counterclockwise for each leg, then finish this one off with hip flexion static holds, 10 seconds on each side. Next, you're going to take that same band, put your hands in it, and make sure as well that you're pushing outwards with your hands. Then you're just going to start at your quads like you see and reach back as far as you can without bending your back. I like to do 10 to 12 reps with this one. Then you're going to take the longer resistance band and you're going to do pretty much the exact same motion, except you're going to go all the way back until the band hits your butt. Then come back to the front. I like to do 8 to 10 reps of this. And I guess I should clarify that the reps are just based on how much I need to do until I feel like the stretch is good enough. So that could mean that from person to person, you may need more reps or less to get the stretch that you need. The next one is a little bit more awkward, first time doing it again, but the best way I know how to explain it is that instead of just going from front to back, you're going to go in circles around your head. The bottom and the top of the rep are the same as the last one. One rep of this is going in a full circle in one direction and then going in another full circle the opposite direction, and I only like to do about 5 or so reps. Then the last thing I do is I dead hang for about a minute, and I like to alternate between having my head forward like this and then also moving it back, so that way I can get a stretch in my lats and my chest as well as my shoulders. And also doing some scapular holds like this, where I'm pinching my shoulders behind my back and holding it there. Really good stretch for your traps. Now, as for after the workout, that's when I'll do my static stretching because I'm done lifting and it's good to kind of break up that lactic acid buildup and such. But that's literally it. Since I've gotten used to the process, it's taken me about 10 minutes to go through everything. And that's literally all that I had for this video, because warming up isn't something that needs to take 20 to 30 minutes. You can get a very efficient warm up in not a whole lot of time at all. So there's not really just that much to cover. But like I said earlier, give it a shot and see if you can notice a difference during your actual workout. And even if you don't do this exact warm up, I would at least hope that you go and try some kind of warm-up because of the benefits. But like I said, that's all I had for this one. So if you guys like this video, then like this video. And I'm going to be doing this same type of walkthrough format for all of the actual workouts that I'm doing every day, explaining why each exercise is included and how it actually contributes to what I'm trying to do. So Subscribe to the channel to see those videos as they come out. But yeah, that's all for today. So I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.